And you'd see every time they try to pull, it sort of takes a nosedive again. It's not an easy task at all. I see one of the divers there also carrying one of the parts of this vehicle. Just take a look there with this door actually opening on the one side as they try to pull this vehicle. That window is still looking somewhat intact, but most parts of this vehicle, and understandably so, given that it had been submerged in water for a number of days, and that would certainly, give us an indication, of the fact that it had been trapped under debris. It had also been trapped in some of, or in between some of these shrubs and these very heavy trees. All right, we're seeing the top of the vehicle and the sides of it. An incredibly difficult process for these divers who've been working around the clock and only suspending their search once it does become dark. And this wreckage that is being pulled at the moment, we heard from the South African Police Service, once it is brought to the surface, then the data dots, the investigators will try to match with the VIN number, and that will be the official confirmation for us that indeed this is the vehicle. The visuals we're also showing you on SABC News is of the families who've been waiting for any kind of news, who've been waiting for news on any further developments in this particular case, and that prayer service that they've been holding today, they're hoping would have yielded, those prayers would have yielded positive results. It keeps coming to the surface as they try to pull it out, and keeps on getting submerged once again, because you could also understand below the surface, underneath this water, it is not as stable as would be. These divers have had to very carefully maneuver these waters to ensure that they themselves are able to carry out a very safe operation. We're getting a bit closer now due to the strength, I guess perhaps. We're seeing a lot more movement now due to the strength of what these rescuers have deployed. A second cable which is now pulling, pulling this vehicle to the surface. All right, we continue our special and live coverage from the Henops River, and this is where these rescuers continue to pull this vehicle out of this water. It's also going to be, it's not just as easy as having to pull this vehicle out of the water. There are certain verification processes that need to happen, before police, and you could sense the reluctance, of course you did, and understandably so, the reluctance from police to 100% confirm on the basis that there are comparisons that need to be done in terms of the VIN number that I spoke about and the data dots. That will tell you. Remember, this on the backdrop of also some of the discoveries that were made yesterday. It was a front bumper as well as a rear bumper that was found, and investigators had already begun their work last night already on those. Not forgetting as well, part of the find yesterday had also been the reflector jacket that we understand had the name bearing that of Constable Linda, and Constable Linda is one of the police officers that, of course, whose body was found here in the Henops yesterday. And the explanation basically that had been given, and I guess speculation also would have been that due to the heavy rains, that had taken place last week, there could possibly, maybe, been a possibility that the vehicle had been swept, further down the Hennops River. But we certainly cannot confirm any of that at this particular stage. What we can confirm, and police have confirmed, is that parts of a vehicle, we don't know what kind of vehicle, have been found in the Hennops River. We're also expecting senior members of the South African Police Service to make their way to this particular scene. We're expecting perhaps a more detailed update from the South African Police Service about what exactly those parts were, whether they were parts of a bumper, a front or a back bumper of a vehicle, exactly what parts exactly have been found by the search and rescue team that has been scouring this area for hours now, having brought in the specialized equipment. Remember, with the helicopter that had been hovering yesterday and that had identified one of the bodies in this river, that brought in drones today as well. Now, the drones were going to be able to search a wider area and much closer. And the specialized equipment itself, I'm not sure if that might have assisted in the latest discovery now of the parts of this vehicle. But we'll certainly get a much more detailed update for you as the team on Full View a little bit later on. But of course, as you can see on our screen, the breaking news of parts of a vehicle having been found. That's about the details that we have at this particular time. There's been a lot of speculation also. We've been very careful on how we report on this particular story, in particular because, remember, there'd also been a Renault that was found on the scene, as I had indicated. So, let's await official confirmation on exactly what parts those are of that vehicle that these police divers, the search and rescue team, have now found. We'll give you a much detailed update a little bit later on.
Criselda Lewis reporting from Centurion, by the way, and that's important clarification.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Jones, Why Not TV. Please subscribe. Bye for now till we meet again next time. Subscribe, please. Don't forget to like and to comment. Thank you very much.
Dr. Jones from Why Not TV.
Goodbye till we meet again next time. Subscribe.